Guildies. Does your gear suck? Yes, I mean you. I'm talking to you. Your gear sucks, doesn't it? It blows. Okay, well, guess what? No more. Let's start off with all the crazy crap that I have learned this last week. First thing we're going to start with is here in the season shop. We're going to go to the engagement, and we're going to go here to season, and you will see that you can get extra relaying stones. By now, if you don't know, you can take a piece of tier 86 gear, use a relaying stone, and you will keep all the same stats, and then you will be able to upgrade it further. I will show you exactly what I mean. Here is my chest piece. Right, I have relayed this from 86 to 91. None of the stats here, like none of these stats actually changed, right? 5.0 was the original stat number on this. So, relaying basically allows you to do a different kind of tuning. It's called development. And basically what you do is you build up other legendaries, and when you brick them, because, the game really hates us all and doesn't want us to have good gear, you then feed those crappy pieces of junk into these new pieces, and you have to feed them in here one line at a time. You can see I can click this piece of gear, and then if I do this, you'll see that I can upgrade my critical rate by 0.3%. So you can see that you're going to actually need a lot of junk pieces to feed into this. We're going to go over all of that. But the first thing that most people don't know is that there is a new season shop area called the Season Catch-Up. Now, why is this Season Catch-Up good? First off, you spend these little chunks. They're called River Jades, right? And the way that you get these is you go into your bag, and you go into your development gear, right? And you go search for all of your little stones and pieces and whatnot here, like all of these 81s, right? And what you do is you recycle them. You can't do the actual shards, right? But you can see I've gotten rid of pretty much all of my other gear pieces. So let's just say I wanted to get rid of, a couple of these, these old 86 arena attunements, right? You'll see that I'm going to trade these 12 attunements for 48 jade. It doesn't look like that much at first. However, you get a whole bunch of these little jades just from running the season, right? And if that wasn't enough, then you can trade in all your old junk. And we go back here to the season shop, and we go back here to season catch-up. You can see I have 219,000. So, yes, I probably have more than a lot of people, but it's really, not that much. In any case, so if you do not have all of your tier 5 mystic rocks that you need to upgrade, do not go farm them. Do not use level 6 mystic rocks. Just buy what you need here using River Jade. Like you can see, I could buy 2,200 of them. So there is no reason whatsoever, okay, to spend time harvesting tier 5 rocks, you know what I mean, or dealing with that. Now, here's what you really need, okay? This is like the super secret. You buy these. These are the gear catch-up chests. And you will notice that you get tier 86 gear pieces from that of any piece of gear you want, okay? So here's the cool part. What you do is you go into your bag, and you go into your common area, and you get the catch-up chest, right? And then you open it, and you open it to a tier 86. And I'm just going to do this with one so you can see what's going on, right? Okay, now I have a tier 86 chest. Now I'm going to open this up. Now I happen to know that my crappiest piece of gear right now is probably my disc. So I'm going to open this. I'm going to select the disc. Okay, I'm going to confirm. Boom. Brand new gold 86 disc. Now, why is this important? Because I can immediately relay this. It doesn't matter. As long as the first stat here, this first stat is a good stat. It doesn't matter if it's blue or purple or gold. It doesn't matter. And I'll explain that in a minute too. So uh, here's this 86 piece of gear, right? And now, in order to relay it, right, I would normally the first thing you do is you're going to go tune it. So you get all these free 86 gold pieces of gear, and what you do, you'll notice I have 3,500 rocks, so I can just YOLO this, right? Don't spend any of the shell materials. You don't need to. Okay, you just YOLO this because all you're looking for are your good stats. Doesn't matter how good they are, right? Doesn't matter if they roll gold or blue. You just want to get 5 stats that have the thumbs up, right? So I'm just going to tune this, and I didn't get it, right? I didn't get it. But just like with any piece of gear, if I had 4 of these that were good, then I could just retune one, right? I could just retune the one bad one and have the 5 pieces, and then immediately relay it. Now, back to the relaying. Why is relaying good? Because when you do a relay, and I'm going to show you this umbrella here, okay, you can clearly see that I can upgrade every single stat line up to 95% of max. And as you all know, like this pair of gloves is a very good pair of gloves, but it's a brand new 91 piece, right? So you'll see that like the power, not a lot of power here, right? And the silk bind, I didn't get it up to 95% on this. And the only reason I got these 2 maxed is because I used, white rainbow upgraders, right? So the point being is that for the vast majority of the time, this piece of gear that's maxed out up to 95% is actually going to be way, way, way better than anything you tune brand new as a brand new piece of 91. Okay, so that's why you want to relay. Yes, you got to feed a ton of golds into it to get all these things maxed out, but you can do that over time. On average, you're going to get like 10, 12 pieces of, gold gear a week, and you can just keep feeding and feeding and feeding and feeding. So you should have gotten all of your relay stones, the maximum number that you could possibly get. Do your path trials, do your season shop, get all the relay stones. Immediately relay all of 4 of these. You immediately relay, your weapons, and the disc and the pendant, right? And again, your primary goal is to get an item with 5 thumbs up, right? That's really what it comes down to. You want to get 5 thumbs up. It's the most important thing. Okay, so like I said, my disc is probably the worst piece of gear I have right now because that precision rate is junk and that momentum is junk. It's actually 2 junks. So anyway, the point being is that had that disc rolled better than what I had, right? And really what I wanted here on this 86 was, well, it wasn't that one, but the one that I had. Yeah, it is that one, actually. I would want, crit rate and agility are both good for me, right? So I could turn this and have 4 thumbs up and probably be better off than what I've got here. Anyway, moving right along. Now, so that is a free way, right? Using the relaying stones, it's a free way to get 91 gear that is potentially better by using those 86s that you just get for free with the catch-up chests, essentially, and then going ahead and relaying them up to 91. Now, second thing you can do with the relaying stone is you can take this piece of gear, right? Like this piece of gear, if I tune this, right, again, this is okay. Like, it's actually pretty good, right? But this pair of gloves here, okay, which actually is also pretty good, what you can do is you can actually do a relay to a 91 to 91 relay. So, like, let's say you get a 91 piece of gear, but you rolled all yellows, right? And maybe some purples. Maybe you ran out or something. So you know what I mean? Like, your piece of gear looks like this helmet. Well, what you can do is you relay 91 to 91. You will lose some stats over here. They will go down a little bit, but then you can feed it and build them all the way back up to 95. So maybe you have a piece of gear that has all plus stats on them, but it doesn't have good rolls. Well, you can relay 91 to 91 and beef it back up, and it'll just take some time for you to beef it up. Okay, that's that trick. Now, The next trick, when you are feeding pieces into each other, if let's say I wanted to feed a piece into this crit rate, I'm going to, pretend for a moment that I'm going to feed the gloves in here. There are two things to look for. One is you will have a little orange Chinese symbol up in the upper left-hand corner here. That is the recommended, uh, thing. So you'll see that if I do this normally, I'm going to get plus 3% on crit rate. Okay, if it's recommended, it could be up to plus 4 or plus 5% even. You can get way, way, way better per piece. So how do you get way, way better per piece? Well, it's pretty counterintuitive because you would think that the more stats that these two items share, the better it's going to upgrade. But in fact, it's the exact opposite. You want the two pieces to be as far apart as possible. So all 5 of the primary lines here, you want them to be all different than the 5 primary lines here. Okay? If they're all different, that's how you get the recommended. If you have 0 of the same stats on both pieces, that's how you get the big bonus recommended. If you have 1 similar stat, then you're going to get the minor recommended, and if you have 2 or more stats that are the same, then you're going to get the non-recommended, which is the lowest and means the most pieces you're going to have to feed in. So, what are we going to do? Well, you basically got 2 strategies for this, right? I'm going to go ahead and show you some new 91 gear that I looted a few minutes ago while rock hunting. And let me just go ahead and sort this. Okay, so I have these 2 new pendants. Now, I don't need these pendants because I already have a pretty maxed out pendant, right? That pendant is fire. So these are kind of junk, but basically you can do 2 things. You can either tune it and just YOLO it up like this, right? And again, you don't care. You're not using any shells. You don't care what rolls. You just really want the worst rolls that you can possibly roll, right? But if you'll remember, when you're actually trying to tune a good piece of 91 gear, right, you're going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, tuning a piece of gear. Like you tune crap gear until you get a path roll, and then you go tune your good piece of gear, and it just lowers the percentage chance. Well, here's the thing. Now that you know you want crap rolls, you can take that piece of gear that you wanted to tune, like let's pretend this one I wanted to tune, right? And this is a crap piece of gear. Well, now I can just tune this, right? One step at a time. Oh, look there, I got the path roll right off rip, right? So now I can go back to this one and actually try to tune it properly, right? Like if I wanted to tune this one, maybe I use a yellow shell and, add my stuff, blah, blah, blah. And, just roll it trying to get a better stat, right? Like this one, defense, it kind of rolled crappy. Anyway, the point being is that now, instead of going back and forth with blue pieces of gear or purple pieces of gear, you can now go back and forth from gold to gold. And you actually want the shitty rolls, right? Because when you get the shitty rolls, that'll then become a recommended on the other piece of gear, which will let you upgrade it even further. Okay? So it is no longer a matter of I've got to roll a perfect first stat, like I need to roll like on my pendant here, I need to roll a perfect first stat. You don't need to roll a perfect first stat. You just need to roll one of the stats that's important for you. Like, for me, that's crit, or power, right? And then once you have a piece of gear that has the right, first line and some good lines here, even if you don't get the best rolls, you can then again relay 91 to 91 and max everything out to 95%, and you will have way better gear than you have ever had before. So it's just going to take some time for you to get that. It's just going to take some time for you to get the gear. One other quick note, just like we have, sets for our weapons and sets for our armor, we now actually have sets for our bow and ring. You will see that this particular set that I have is the crit rate version. There's crit rate, affinity, and precision. And so whichever stat you're lacking of, you can get that in exactly the same way. 3.7% more precision is nothing to sneeze at. Or, I mean, crit rate is nothing to sneeze at. So that's, you just keep on keeping on. So the point is that, yes, we still have a lot of grind to do. Yes, you still have to do your guild heroes. Yes, you still have to farm for rocks. Yes, you should probably be farming for rocks instead of doing sword trials. But however you get your gold pieces of gear, you now have way, 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 way many more ways to get that gear upgraded into a position that is maximum. Okay, I am going to be putting all of this into a written form where I can, take my time and actually, do a better job of explaining it than just this stream of consciousness. But at least I hope this helps you somewhat so that you can get your gear maxed out as quickly as possible. Cyth out.